Hello everybody, it's Fridays18 here on a slightly nicer map than before. And so today I will be showing you all the new stuff. There's quite a lot of exciting things to go over today. We got big changes with just about everything, including 2 new bending styles, which I'm very excited about, along with a way to get the final avatar state and some more stuff going on there. So yeah, I'll be right back with you guys. Alright guys, I'm sorry about that. I'm back. I just had to do some settings and stuff to get everything ready. So first off, before anything, we're going to turn off the audio for the mobs and stuff, because there's just some random mobs that are making some noises. So I think the coolest thing that I want to show off first and foremost is the Bison Whistle remake. So you guys all saw in the last video and the video before that. Now we actually have a bison that we can fly around, as you can see. Much cooler. Yeah, so you shoot up in the air and then you get this bison that you can fly around on. And when you get off of it, it despawns. And of course you can just keep sending it every 300 ticks, or I want to say around like 6 seconds. Now before we get into the rest of it, I do want to elaborate because I do have some plans for this. So the Bison Whistle is going to be something granted to airbenders immediately, of course. But there's also, I want to make it so they can randomly spawn too in certain biomes, like really high mountains or whatever, and make them kind of a rare thing. This is what they look like. Of course, they're based on Appa. Kind of see his little eyes right there. It's a little bit hard with the shaders on, but they are going to be naturally spawning, and they do fly around and do their own stuff. And the naturally spawning ones are always going to be, they're not going to despawn. So once they spawn, they're not going to despawn if you have a name tag on it, so a random person who's not an airbender will have the option to A, keep it around, it doesn't have to despawn, and B, get to fly on it, which I feel like is pretty interesting. You know, now, this is a universal form of travel. It's not limited just to the airbender, so that's what's going on there. And of course, you know, they get that. Now, we're going to go over some of the changes. So one of the first changes, and I think one of the coolest things, we actually need a long stretch of land for it. This isn't a great place for that, but I'm going to just come up here. Hopefully they got some space up here. They do. Okay, that's actually perfect. So the airbenders, when you turn on your bending mode, you only get a couple of particles, which they're going to look nicer. They're going to be around the body, but I changed it so it wasn't too in your face like all the rest of the times. And so let's take a look at what airbenders got now. For their air ball, you actually get to sit on a ball, and it's not just some weird speed thing. And now this is toggleable, not by pressing the key again, but actually by just shifting out of it. So this is pretty big for the airbenders this update, because now you have the you got the bisons fully in the game, because now you have a mode of transport flight, and then on the ground you also have a mode of transport, and this thing is going at pretty fast speeds. When I first put it into the game, it was about like triple this, but I felt like that was a bit unfair. Also, of course, you have your little particle effects flying around you. I thought it looked nice. And so yeah, that's mainly it for the airbenders, but I feel like this is a pretty cool update for them, the little airball and stuff. And I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about it. I tried to make it transparent. I couldn't get it fully transparent, but there is it looks a bit nice in the default texture I made for it. So yeah, have fun for that. Next, we got water bending. I forgot what I did with water bending, but I'm sure it was something cool. So we're going to mash this up real quick, set our bending style to it, and let's see what we got. So if I'm correct, yeah, all the moves are the same. Like, of course there's going to be a giant rework in the future with everything, but for right now, the big things are, for water, at least in this episode, is this. The water slice has bubble effects now rather than the other ones, which to me look a lot nicer than the other ones. Plus they're a bit clearer to see. And also the added bonus that I added to this one is that if you throw it in the water, you get a little splash. Very cool. And also, can I just say, Octafine is very beautiful with my particle effects for the bending thing, because they kind of shine the dark a little bit. It's kind of hard to see once I'm just over here. But, yeah, they have their little emitter. I don't know, I set it up just for people who got Octafine on. Next, we got fire. Ooh, no, fire's not in the game yet. We're going to show that off last. I want that to be a little special surprise. Earth did get its buffs, of course, and different particle things. So let's master up Earth. Now, I believe F is the first move. This hasn't changed too much. The first move hasn't changed too much, except there's a new particle effect for it. There's a little spinny circle in the middle, which gives it like a delay looking effect for the user. So if you're trying to shoot up or down, which you obviously can't do, but you get that little effect. Also, I should mention for those of you who are going to be non-airbenders looking for oppas in the world, they will have about 1,000 health, so they're not going to be able to just get killed. Of course, they're actually flying bisons, not oppas, but I'm really watching the show. It's just they say flying bison a lot less than they say oppa. So yeah, but anyways, I got that little particle rework. I don't remember if I had anything else with it, so I'm just gonna leave that blank amount of energy. We're actually gonna not even touch the energy scrolls for a minute. We're gonna go through the fire first. Fire is very exciting. Fire's not that crazy yet, of course. It's gonna get awesome though. So the first move we got is this. It's a fireball, but it shoots out 5 fireballs and they all go in random directions. So it's kind of like a shotgun move. And of course, if you hit something and light it on fire, I like this. I feel like it's a fun little move for the firebenders. They have Fire Rage next for their second spec. So the 5 seconds of basically 3 everything good, which is, you know, it could be, I feel like for sword mains and stuff, getting like strength 3 mid fight for 5 seconds can be, you know, pretty good. The V move is a AoE, so we got to get some animals. Don't want to hurt anything nice though, so let's get what do we got here? Let's get some. I'm kind of creepers. Perfect. So we use this move, and it'll charge for a second, and then everything in the area will get caught on fire. Now, as you can see, actually, I don't know if he didn't get caught on fire because he wasn't in range or because he was in the water. But the point is, they're on fire for 15 seconds. I might buff it so it does some damage too. I want to make it fair to the people. But for right now, it's a pretty decent range. I'll actually like make a little range test over here. So I'm gonna put 1 creeper right here, 1 creeper right here, 1 creeper right here, and they all got hit. So of course they start moving a little bit, but you get the general idea. 15 seconds of fire, and yeah, it's pretty decent. Now before we get onto the ultimate, of course everything is passive. So you know the airbender's passive is they get these bisons and their staffs. The waterbenders, when they're in water, they are unable to drown. And the earthbender's passive, when they're blind, they have resistance 4. So you know you're probably thinking, well, firebender's passive is pretty obvious, and yeah, it is. It's kind of obvious. So water and fire I'm gonna make it so that when it's daytime, the firebenders are stronger. When it's nighttime, the waterbenders are stronger. They hit a little bit more canonical, but for right now, you get fire resistance like 30 when you're in fire as a firebender. So ooh, that looks pretty. That looks gorgeous. Actually, this whole place looks gorgeous. I love Optifine. But anyways, that's kind of what they've got going on for that. Now on to their ultimate. Huge charge up, but it's worth it because you see that creeper right there. We're gonna shoot the stairs, or actually we're gonna shoot this building. Okay, he loves to move. We're gonna shoot this right here. It's called the massive fireball. After a little bit of charge up, yeah, it's a pretty big AoE. It may not have looked like that much, so I'm gonna shoot into this guy so you can kind of see what it looks like. It's pretty long range. Of course, I am gonna be modeling a giant fireball. It's going to look very similar to the Mathiox fireball in the Naruto mod he made. But for right now, that's what the fireball looks like. It's, once again, it may not seem that crazy, but I promise you guys, it's very above average. It's actually pretty decent, and the AoE is kind of gigantic, especially considering it's a ranged AoE doing that much damage. So we're just going to... And there is some other exciting stuff. First I just gotta give myself some energy. Before we get on to the last thing, which I actually will show you through the process, is I'm not just gonna like slash bending it, but for the bending, slash, you guys might see me use slash bending set a lot in my videos. This is an exclusive creative, like full admin thing. You can set your bending style to whatever you want, give yourself energy, and make yourself an avatar, right? But I made an option for the average player. Everyone can use this command, and what it does is when you use it, if you have had a bending style in the past, you're able to switch to it. So let's say we wanted to go air. Okay, we did it. I don't have a, I realize I don't have a message just in there yet, but let's use one of the moves and, oh, wait, hold on, slash bending. Oh, I forgot, sorry. It's set for, yeah, I set it to text for you guys, not the numbers, because the number system's kind of confusing, and I'm really the only person who understands it right now, so I did set it to that. So if we just hop off this, you can see if we've had fire, so we'd set it to fire. You get our fireballs. Something we haven't actually had yet for this is energy. So as you can see, it doesn't change it to energy, which because we haven't had it yet. So as long as you've had it once, it can change to it. Now it doesn't give you the, let's say you have like 10 mastery, or I guess like 2 mastery on it. You're still gonna have 2 mastery when you come back, but there's no like, you don't get reduced, but you do have to have more than 0, which is you haven't gotten the ability. So let's say, I'm trying to explain it well. So let's say you get air, but then before getting an air scroll and leveling up your air, you get fire and then level up your fire. You'll be allowed to switch to your fire, but you can't switch to air because you haven't leveled it up enough to be able to switch back to it. I hope that kind of made some sense. But yeah, that's a more accessible way that everyone can be able to switch their abilities, since of the meditating, you know, mystical spirit gods give you a spiritual key and allow you to, you know, get a random bending style. It's kind of RNG based. And if you get something you don't like, or you just want to change at any point in time, I don't want you to be forced to, you know, be in that situation. Anyways, let's pop some air scrolls, and there we go. We've become the avatar, because why, you might be asking, we got all 4 of these mastered up. We got water, we got that mastered up, air mastered up, earth mastered up, and fire mastered up. And currently, that's the only requirements. As long as you get everything mastered up, you'll become the avatar. And of course, you see the specialized bending mode. You get all these benefits and stuff. But now let's actually go through the moveset of energy. We of course need our masteries. Which, by the way, I will be making the energy scrolls a bit more expensive, and I might make them a little bit of a different method to get. But I don't know. I'm still a little bit. There's a lot I'm thinking about for this whole situation. There's a lot on my mind, a lot of things I want to change or correct or whatever. So of course, recommendations are very much appreciated, and suggestions. And like I said in my last video, if you give me suggestions and you put your username below, and it's an actual valuable suggestion, and I think it doesn't have to be a suggestion I like, as long as it's a suggestion I can acknowledge is good. I'll be, when I release the mod, all these people before the first release who put their username in the chat with a suggestion will get a special thing. I've been seeing a lot of TikToks lately about this, like I think it's like Kiyoshi something, and she's very funny. She just like uses AI chat to overlay like avatar videos and stuff. And the running joke is like freeze their lungs because you're the avatar, and people can kind of just do that. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give a freeze the lung move to all my people who've done that. Put their name in the comments with a suggestion. Yeah. And also, I'm not trying to just fish for like views or comments or whatever. I'm very inactive on this YouTube channel. I'm not looking for success on it. I just want to hear your suggestions, and I want to like give you guys some reward for giving me good suggestions. Anyways, all that out of the way, let's move on to the energy bending. So the first part about energy bending, there's 2 passives. The first one is if you type /spirit, and you can make it true or false. Or now it's true. Okay. Oh, it's because we have the bending on, I think. That's kind of messing this whole thing up. One sec. Let me see if I can turn it up. Or maybe, I can't tell if it's something, but basically you go into the spirit realm, so you can attack. I think it's Optifine, which is why the effects aren't working. There is effects though. I think I showed it last video, maybe. I showed it at the end of the last video. You go invisible and you have like an outline around. You can kind of see that in a giant amount of effects here. But the general idea is you cannot take any damage, but you also can't deal any damage, and you can't break anything. So you're basically just like in a physical spectator mode. And so the avatars are allowed to use this to go into the spiritual realm. And of course, when you want to turn it off, you just have to go false, and it's off. And you have all your effects gone. So now let's turn back on our bending mode. The other passive, by the way, is when you kill things, your mental state goes down, and when you meditate, your mental state goes up. when you use one of the moves, if your mental state is below 80, which means you've killed more than you've meditated, you die with it. I'll kind of go over why that makes sense. So first off, let's just use the first move. The first move is very simple. Basically, that slash spirit thing that you saw before, when your first move, you go into that for about 5 seconds. Now, of course, you can't see it very well because of the Optifine, so you're not going to get to see how cool it looks, but basically, you just pop in and out of it. This is very useful for a lot of reasons, in my opinion. In fights, being able to kind of just disappear and become a different entity for 5 seconds and then come back, it's a very, very good dodge, and there's a lot of ways you can reposition yourself. You get like a lot of speed, which I guess you already get for the avatar, but still, regardless, it's pretty nice. Next up, we got Clone Summon. It'll summon 2 Kyoshi clones, and they're very, very strong, and after a little bit, they'll despawn. Yeah, this may not seem like a crazy move. They're very, very, very strong, so having these guys on your side will make your fight a lot nicer. As for the V move, this is the move that's pretty overpowered. Basically, you press V, bending removal. Now, what does that do, you might be asking? Well, assuming that was a player who had a bending style, and your mental state was above a certain amount, you would have just stolen their bending style away. Now, what does that mean realistically when they can just slash bending set? It means, yes, they can just reset their bending style again, sure, but they have to go through the effort of doing that command when you only have to press one button to remove their entire bending style with a very small charge up. So, yes, it's not a long-term thing. I feel like that'd be unfair, but at the same time, I feel like it's very reasonable because now they have to stop and do slash bending, or else they can't use bending styles mid-fight. It's kind of like a actual out-of-game stun because they have to go through the effort of typing out the command again mid-fight. So it's an interesting way to put your opponent in a bit of a hard situation. Now, as for the last move, the ultimate, once again, I made energy very tired last night. It is not very cool looking right now. But that said, the ultimate Lion Turtle Summon has a very strong startup, huge explosion. And that may not have looked like a huge explosion, which is why I'm going to demonstrate to you with Iron Golems how strong and how big that explosion was. Now, I will make a lot of effects and make it obviously good looking. It's just for right now, it's a lot easier to just make everything and then after the fact go through and make everything look nice. So we're going to make a lot of these guys, and then we are going to kill them all with one move. They're all over there. They're Iron Golems, very strong. And as you can see, it even got the one behind the house. So very, very strong final move, and it's going to look really awesome once it's done. I probably added some other stuff that I'm forgetting about that I'll remember later on after I post this video. I'm going to make my third video, or fourth video, sorry, on the mod. You'll be able to see that. But yeah, that's it for right now. And please, please, please make sure to check out the Discord if you have any questions. I'm looking for testers right now, so if you're interested in actually playing the mod, feel free to DM me. You can find my app to the Discord. And yeah, it's been nice talking to you guys. I'll see you when I see you. Peace.